Hi, have you ever had a dream so real that you could not differentiate if it's a dream or a reality? And I know a lot of you might be thinking, every dream feels real. We see dreams when we sleep, and every one of us have the same experience. We can't differentiate it because we are sleeping. And I know you're right, but I'm not talking about that dream. When we sleep, it's our brain that's showing us that dream. But the dream that I'm talking about is what we create ourselves and with our eyes wide open. I'm talking about maladaptive daydreaming. And this has been the problem with me for so long, at a point when I didn't even know anything about mental health problems or anything like, even if it's possible to have a disease, or I call it so because it affects my life, named as a maladaptive daydreaming. Although there's debate, I mean, I don't even know if psychologists, treat this or they approve of it that it exists. I don't know, but I have read few articles, and when I read those articles, I connected because I was suffering from that problem, and initially I even did not know that that was a problem. I thought it was just me, but when I read so many articles and I read or Reddit post about it, I knew this was something that has been widespread. So, this is a dream for those who don't know about it. As I said, we watch it or we experience it with our eyes wide open. And yes, we cannot differentiate between reality or between that particular dream. I remember during my high school days, I would be sitting in the class and studying, but all the time waiting. My day might be going very bad, but I would be waiting for the bell to ring and I could get out of that gate and exit the school and be on my way home because I knew something interesting would happen. I would tap into that dream world, the dream world, as I say it, and a lot of people say it. And no matter how bad the day was, no matter if I got bullied or if I felt like I don't belong, or if I felt like I had this problem with my brain, or I couldn't understand what the teacher was saying, or if I felt like I had a learning problem, whatever that case may be. But in my dream world, I knew that I was the smartest kid. I knew I was the hero of my school. And this, in our dream world, as I say, we can be anything, whatever we want. And it sounds so cool. Like, if it makes you feel happy, then where is the problem? We don't see a problem there. And I felt like it. I mean, I would tell myself, if I feel good about something, then what's the problem? It's not damaging or anything like that. But then when I was in college and when I left out college and I was in, the corporate life, that's when I realized that this is actually a problem. Why is it a problem? It's because we are so connected to that dream world that we never want to switch that off or never want to come out of that dream. We always want to stay there. like it's our own place and like it matters. Like whatever I do there, it has a meaning. For example, if I fail at a professional course that was important to me in reality, my mind would be like, what's the problem? You can always achieve that, achieve that in the dream world. And you may argue it's just a thought, right? What can a thought do? Thoughts are not dangerous, it's just in your head, you're not performing anything. But they do. They give all those electrical signals in your brain, all those hormones, the dopamine, and everything. And when your brain gets dopamine, it does not care if it's coming from a real activity or if it's just coming by your thoughts. It needs dopamine. It needs your body needs to be, energetic, happy, needs to find purpose. And wherever the purpose comes from, it does not care. It's just there for survival. And that's where the problem comes. Like when you start achieving everything in your dream world, you cannot give effort in the reality. You don't feel like giving effort. And it's not just that maladaptive daydreaming is something that you do for a like half an hour or 1 hour and you can easily come out of it. It's something that runs 24/7 in your mind. You might be speaking with someone, with your dear ones, but you might still be in your dream world. And one thing I'm going to make clear here, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not anything. So I'm not giving any medical advice. It's just that something that I felt I wanted to share. And hopefully this reaches out to someone who experiences this and who can share their experience with me. I mean, because this is something that I don't know where to talk about it. I don't know if anybody would understand except those who actually has gone through it. And it's not like anxiety or depression. I mean, I do have those, but if I have these things, I can talk about it with my friends because nowadays it's very widely accepted and people know what this is because at some point on minor level everybody faces this because of the hustle culture right now in this day and age. But this maladaptive daydreaming is still unknown. And it was unknown for me before I also found out the articles and I knew what I was facing is not a taboo where there are a lot of people that are facing it. And it got so engraved in me, it was so deep within me that I couldn't let it off. I had a trigger. If I have, I don't know where I kept my AirPods, but that's one thing that I'm going to teach you how you can get rid of it. As you remember, I don't even know where my AirPods are, but there was a time when the AirPods were 24/7 within my ears or any earphones at that time. I would never take them out because music was a trigger for me. Music was a trigger to enter that dream world. I could enter without it too, but for some reason, music always made the experience more realistic, as if I was wearing a VR headset, not a earphone. So the problem began because I kept failing at everything, um, be it college, be it a professional course, be it at my job, whatever it was. And there came a point where I couldn't feel anything. Like even if something bad was happening in front of me, I was okay. I mean, you would say it's a really great quality, but no, it's not a great quality. It was like I was numb, and that's bad because in my mind I was somewhere else. If something, as I said, if something bad happens right now, my mind would be fixing it in that dream world, and totally opposite thing would happen there. And it would say, what's the problem? You wanted that and you got it in your dream world, so why worry? I gave you all those dopamine hits that you needed. Now you feel good for 10-15 minutes. Just enjoy life. These were the times. And I quit my job because of some problem, but for the past 3 years, I've been trying to fix it. To be honest, for past 1.5 year, I've been trying to fix my mental health problems, but it was only recently because as I said, I did not know that this could be the main source of problem for my depression and my anxiety as well. So initially, I kept working on my anxiety and depression. I went out on runs. Okay, I was a very unfit guy, so I started running. I had heard from a lot of people that running gives you that high and you feel really good. So I started to do that, and I cut my diet. I also started working out, and I was seeing changes on my body, and it was making me feel good. But at the end of the day, my anxiety and depression was not going away. So after 6 or 8 months of trying to do everything, I sat one day and I was thinking, like, what's the problem? What's still holding me back? And I realized that the main problem I had never fixed, even after running, even after working out, or while running, what I was doing was maladaptive daydreaming. I was having all these scenarios in my head, how I made my comeback, like it was personal, how I got the dream job, how I fixed everything, how I was very mentally, you know, refreshed, and I had no anxiety, depression, and I was talking on a camera like this and telling people I fixed everything and I got the antidote. I know how to fix it. Now these things were happening in my mind, and I was achieving that, and I was feeling really good. And for a moment, for a brief moment, I thought that I had fixed the main problem, but that was not the problem. That was again the maladaptive daydreaming that was showing me a different reality. And that's when I realized that this is actually a problem, and I can beat anxiety and depression later on, but this has to be addressed first. Once this is addressed, when once I'm in present, that that's the time when I can work on my problems. It was really hard, so let me cut short because I tried keeping my earphones away, but I could not. For even a brief moment, if I just kept it away, I would be like fidgety. I would need them, but I wouldn't get them. So there was a time like I was listening to a lot of podcasts. Every podcast, Diary of a CEO, Andrew Huberman, and there were some Indian podcasters too. Everybody was making content on mental health, but I did not see this thing pop up in many podcasts until I found one article. If I can find that article, I'll link it in the description, and that was very helpful. First of all, that article addressed what the problem was. Like it gave me something that yes, this is a problem, and when you know that this is something is a problem, you always have a chance to fixing it. So I read that article, and it is a long article, like it has 4 or 5 parts. Go through each and every part, don't skip anything. That article is really good. But in my past 3 years of experience in like trying to beat this problem, I realized something, that gaining information, gaining knowledge, watching videos, it cannot help unless until you take action. And that's what I had to do. I had to take action. I wanted to feel the present moment. I wanted to be here when someone was talking to me. I wanted to be here when, even when there was anxiety, I wanted to be in the present and face that anxiety instead of searching for my earphones and tapping into that dream world and just thinking that, oh, problem is solved. Now I feel good staying there. But you're just cutting away from everyone. That's what you're doing. You're getting, you're running away from the problem, you're running away from your people, and that's not a solution. I don't want to make that video too long, but let me now come to the solution, like what I was doing to solve it. And I know deep down every one of us know what the solution is. Find the trigger and stop it. Now everybody would be like, if that was so easy, we would have done it like way back. But this is the problem. No matter anything that you want to quit, you have to take those hard steps for first 3 to 4 days, and it's going to be itchy, it's going to be irritating, you would be fidgeting, but that's when you have to remind why you're doing this. So how it looked for me was, when I decided to do it, I remember it's always midnight when I'm deciding something. I have journals. um, I read books as well, but I do journaling as well. So I was journaling about it, and I thought, let's be honest, okay? What do I need to do if I had to fix this issue right now? And the only thing that came in my mind, and after reading that article too, there are some points from that article. Read it. I had to force myself to be in present. I had to learn this. For so long, I had not been in the present. And it was irritating. I did not know what being in present means. So I had to learn that. So I decided that's what I'm gonna do. My trigger to daydreaming is music. So I'm gonna cut it off. That's it. Find the trigger, cut it off. But alongside it, your daily habits have to be, at least till you're trying to, I mean, I would suggest everyone to, get the basics right, right? The good night's sleep, the clean diet, the less videos, and everything. So I did that. I implemented that. I was already, I decided that I'm gonna sleep around 10 p.m. I'm gonna wake up whenever my body allows, be it 5, 6, 7, and I'm gonna go for a walk. Here's a caveat. When I'm going to go for a walk, I'm not going to carry my earphones or my phone, just my Apple Watch for recording a workout, or if I'm going on a run, just using my Apple Watch for runs. And before that, every run I did, I was using earphones, and music was what driving me for my run. But now I had cut it off. I had decided that I'm not going to use my earphones. I kept my earphone and my phone at home, and I went out and started to do my runs, just observing what's in front of me, just feeling the air. Now, I know it sounds cliche, feel the air, watch the trees and everything. And it's ridiculous when you start doing it because it's hard. And I'm not saying that the first time I did it fixed it. No. Now I was doing something. I had decided that whenever my brain would start putting me into that daydream, I'm going to I'm going to do I'm going to stop it. And every time that this would happen, I know I won't immediately know it because, as I said, it's so seamless to go into that dream world that you don't realize it. So I said, "Oh, no problem. I know I've been doing it for so long, so it's not going to vanish. And I'm accepting it. Changes have to be small." So the point is, I told myself, whenever you catch yourself, whenever you know that, oh, I'm in that dream world, that's when you tell yourself, gotcha, come back. Let me tell you, when I went out for a run, every 30 seconds I was doing this, got you, come back, got you, come back. It was irritating. I thought, will I be doing this for the whole day? It's so frustrating. I don't even realize. And the problems start to come when I did not know the boundary between daydreaming and between normal, whatever you call it, introspection or whatever. Like, it's normal to think about something, right? So I don't know what's the word for that, but normal introspection and daydreaming. But I knew something, that whenever I was trying to do something that I'm not doing in reality and living that in the dream world, I would tell myself, gotcha, come back. I completed my run, 1 hour run, and then I forced myself to sit in silence and just observe other people, everyone. And it was really hard to just sit because I was fidgeting. Like, you know what the problem, what happens is when you don't have your earphones and when you can't do something, you're like, what can I do? I'm not able to sit. I have to get up. I have to go here. I have to again come and sit. I was doing this only. But still, I told myself, you've been doing this for so long, it's hard to quit. So sit and think about it. And I did this for 4 or 5 days, and I kept catching myself daydreaming and telling myself, gotcha, come back. It was very frequent earlier, but as soon as I was I was kind of getting good at it. So the durations started to had a really huge gaps. So earlier as I said, every 30 second I was doing it because every 30 second my mind was drifting me to daydreaming. And by the end of that evening, it started to be like every 20-30 minutes. The next day, 20-30 minutes. And the very next day, I started to realize that daydreamings were not stopping, but I was catching myself very frequently. Like, initially, when the daydream would start, I would be in that daydream for 5 to 6 minutes, and then I would realize, oh, I was in daydreaming. I was daydreaming. But within a couple of days, I was like, as soon as my brain was starting to daydream, I was like, gotcha, within seconds. And I was stopping it. And my brain was trying really hard, to protect me from doing this because maladaptive daydreaming is not something that your brain does automatically because it decided to give you this pleasure. No, there has been something that happened with you in your childhood, or you were not satisfied, or you were, I'm not going to say that word, but you know what I mean. You were not happy with your life, or you were hopeless. So it's trying to protect you by giving those dreams so that you could live it off and not plan on doing something. So within 3 to 4 days, I was very good at it. I was running, I was doing my things, I was going out on public park. I forced myself to go out on public park and read books. Did not carry my earphones. For 3 months, I do carry it now. But for first 3 months, when I was trying to get rid of this problem, I did not carry my earphones. And I used to think that this is going to be really hard. This is the problem. Because earphones were very dear to me. But I did it. I got rid of it, and suddenly earphones weren't important. Suddenly daydreams weren't a problem. Even now, sometimes I start doing it, but I know I don't want to be there. It does not give me that high. I stop myself. So all it takes is to force yourself to be in the present. And if you can do that, then it's going to be amazing. And I promise you that. And um there's nothing else that you need. And when you start being in present, something changes. What changes is you start. I'm not saying that being in present will solve all your problems. It's the opposite. When you start being in present, you realize that, oh, the problem is too big. The problems are too big that I was avoiding. And it's also a pressure, and anxiety would creep in. But when you learn to stay in present, you calm yourself down. You know what the problems are, so you can solve it. But the problem with the daydreaming is that you're avoiding it. So that article is really like, that was a very helpful thing because it taught me why daydreams happen. As I said, the brain is protecting itself. It does not want to die. And why it happens and what you can do about it, it's clearly mentioned in that article. But you will also realize on your own that, oh, I have to find a trigger and I have to eliminate that trigger. And it can be done. So if you think that it's not possible, it is possible. Things may get better in your life. Your relationships might improve. Your performance might improve. You might be, you might start working on that goal. I mean, I'm trying. I'm not saying, as I said, it's not going to solve all the problems, but it will at least bring you back in the present so you can list all your problems and start working on them right now. And I just realized one thing. I shot this video in vertical mode, so I don't know how it would look. I'm sorry for that. But these were my honest thoughts. And if you have been suffering from this, try. Try staying in present. Try to do what I was doing or innovate your own ways, but read that article. And being present is really important. In finding that trigger that takes you to that daydream, you have to eliminate that trigger. You have to force yourself. Forcing is the only way. There's no other way. I don't know about medicines. I don't trust medicines. And I don't know if there's medicine for this. But crux, if you don't want to take medicines and try it, you can try it. And know that we all have been there. We have all have suffered with this. You're not alone. In my making this video, I'm also kind of telling myself that you have that problem. That does not mean it's the end of the world. I quit it and I can now work on the problems. So try it. Thank you.